Because Jesus is the bridegroom, and the Christian is the bride. I don't like evolution. I didn't come from King Kong of the sky. I came from God.
That's
Same thing. People believe in apes. You know, King Kong, a big ape. Does a Hollywood movie. It's just a phrase of words.
But God in the form of a King Kong, is that?
Well, what do you think Planet Apes is about?
It's Planet Apes is a lot of, I guess, experiment apes.
that's just a movie.
They were trying to prove that evolution was true.
Uh,
That where man came from apes, and said that man went back to apes in the future. That's what that movie is really about. Because our astronauts went out in space, went to Earth, got into a time warp, went back, hit the Earth in the future, and there was apes, and man was slaves. But now that apes are in the cage, and man out of the cage. But in that movie, man in the cage and ape out of the cage.
So am I going to hell?
The only thing would make you go to hell if you don't believe Jesus.
I don't believe in Jesus.
Yeah, that's what he said. I did.
So I'm going to hell?
Yeah. Don't have to.
That's some bad news.
it doesn't seem very nice, does it?
It wasn't very nice for Jesus to have to go to the cross and be crucified butt naked. Homos would love that. They'd have a good time seeing him being crucified butt naked.
Probably would.
They wouldn't go on the cross and go mess with him. I mean, what makes you homosexual? You gotta have a sex act. I mean, I've had friends of mine that I've hugged their necks and, we're good buddies, but I didn't go to bed with them.
I'm taking Spanish.
That's what separates heterosexual from homosexual. Where's the pedophile?
Somebody has sex with young boys or
But still
children.
gay.
Oh, I mean,
No, I've
Depends on
heard
the
from
child.
experts that it's not necessarily about sex; it's more about power in that case.
Well, it has that too. Whether male or female also has that. Madams have the same thing. Mistress has the same thing.
It's not
Any
really.
type of perversion has the same thing.
I would definitely consider
so
it.
when did you start getting into God?
1969, when I was 16 years old.
What church are you
Calvary Chapel, the Jesus people, hippie Christians. I'm from the hippie movement from the 60s and 70s. It was called Jesus people back then.
Did you do a lot of drugs back then? Just
No.
curious.
I did witchcraft.
Just witchcraft, huh?
Stole, steal, hated. I didn't mess with drugs. I didn't drink. I stole like crazy. I stole like a dog.
Okay.
And I was raised in a Christian home.
Interesting.
I knew better.
So why do you come to a college campus as opposed to other places?
Now, I've been doing this 43 years now.
Oh, so you preach everywhere, really?
Yeah.
But
I started on the streets.
yeah.
And
So-
then God sent me to the universities. First one was Florida State University in 1986.
Really?
How do you send you to your research?
Huh?
How do you send you there?
He lays on my heart and I go. I've been to 253
So
universities.
God or Jesus came to you while you're sleeping and woke you up, just kind of just shrugged you like this and said you're going to go to university, right?
Well, sometimes I'll be sitting right here and he'll tell me what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. Or where he want me to leave when I leave here.
So is it just it's like a voice in your head, kind of
It's like peace.
like peace?
It's like peace. It's like a calm peace comes over you.
I'm
and you
just
know
trying
you're at peace.
I'm trying to imagine it myself.
So it's not like heroin?
No, heroin kill you. Heroin will mess you up bad.
Jesus won't kill you?
Huh?
Jesus won't kill you then?
No.
Huh. Interesting. Okay.
I mean, you go look up the Jesus people on the computer, go back to that time. Go all the way back to Berkeley, before Berkeley became all them bad riots. And you will find the Jesus people in the midst of all that area. Thousands and thousands and thousands, every one of them were hippies.
Huh.
They were hippies. It's what got started, what they call today
Yeah, I hope the students don't mind.
modern day Christian music. And yet, a lot of them were hippies, flower girls, some of them were prostitutes. I mean, you're talking about being high on drugs. A lot of these guys and girls were, I used to travel with them, at Jesus people. Lived in tents. We lived in tents all over the country. Girls and guys alike. Married couples. We had doctors and lawyers and And we had policemen, we had judges, we had all kinds of folks with us. Because when trouble happened, they would, back us up. We put up a big tent in Washington, D.C. at Richard Nixon's impeachment, right on the monument grounds, right in front of the White House, right behind the monument. And Senator Hatfield, Hughes, and Humphrey got us permission. And by law, nobody could put nothing. That tent was big as a circus tent, big as a football field. We had Jesus people march all across Pennsylvania Avenue. And I mean, back in that days, they were bringing the cameras out with the vans and filming us, wondering were we communists or something. But at that same time span, there was the Ku Klux Klan marching, there was the Christianists, there were the Satanists, there was the communists, there was the socialists, there were even the nudists. Nudists could walk down the street of Washington, D.C. butt naked with signs saying they're nudists.
What do you for your homosexuality?
Feel sorry for them. Every one of them is not the same.
Do you think?
It's the militant kind that's bad, who don't care. They say they're born that way.
So you don't think God makes people homosexual?
No.
You think it's a choice?
Because babies
or-
are babies. Babies aren't born gay. A
Okay.
baby born wicked, they're just a baby. They don't know nothing. They're innocent.
Well, no, but you know, sometimes a baby could be born with like blonde hair, but then it gets brown as it gets older. Yeah. So that could be the same type of a trait, like a genetic trait that.
Well, when I was born, actually I was born with both organs. And my mom and dad had to get me an operation right here.
Uh-huh.
And how that operation came is how I was going to be.
Okay.
So I was a guy.
Uh-huh.
But they actually told me, they didn't tell me this until I was almost grown.
Uh-huh.
But then I didn't understand why Harley didn't, have no hair, or why I had smooth skin. Why I liked animals. I didn't care about hanging around guys, acting like fools all the time. But no one ever, it wasn't that I was that way. No. It was that because the operation I had to have, the bottom part was in my stomach, what it was.
Uh-huh.
That could kill a kid. I was about
Okay.
2 years old. So I had to have a certain operation where they cut right here,
Yeah.
and they had to bring it down.
So you were born hermaphrodite?
Huh?
So you were born hermaphrodite?
I don't know what you would call it. But all that is cleared up.
Huh.
I'm
It
totally
was just at the
male.
body they had it.
I'm totally male.
So.
But
They had
as I got
correction.
older, you know how some guys get hairy real quick?
Okay.
I never started even getting hair until I was about 30s or
But the body
40s.
has
Okay.
made a choice.
And
It was said there was not too much estrogen.
So it
there was
seems
not
as
much
if
testosterone. It was just the
It was
body.
kind of a little bit of a mistake, like
Sort
and
of,
it had to be
the body
corrected.
hasn't made a
yeah,
choice.
but that
So
I mean,
when
it had
they
nothing to do
went
about
ahead
me
and
being a
gave him that
baby.
operation,
Yeah. But I
and
mean, you would think
there
that
was more
if
of the male
if
part
God's
than
all
there was
powerful, He
female.
wouldn't make mistakes.
So when they
He
went
don't make
ahead and
mistakes.
corrected all that.
So that wasn't a mistake.
Yeah.
No,
But it was,
was
just,
on purpose that
he's,
way.
something
No.
like my
Okay.
brother.
God don't
My
make
brother,
mistakes.
All right.
doesn't have the term violence.
It's like
He
if
doesn't
a
think
woman
like that.
drinks and smokes
got
or
smooth
takes
skin.
pot and she gets pregnant,
David
Yeah.
her
doesn't
child
have
could be
that much
born
hair on
deformed,
his
born
legs,
deformed,
or
or mental,
pelvic part.
or cut up on that
He
drug
he
or that
can't grow a
liquor.
beard.
Okay. All right.
Born
He can
that
get,
way.
like,
You know,
as far as
babies,
the
that has
whiskers.
happened to baby born drunk.
And it's
Uh-huh.
real slow.
But that's
He had a
because
hard
it's in
enough
their
time trying
system.
to get
It's
a
not their
mustache.
fault. It comes from
And
their
what he
mama
did is
So,
blood.
hard
so you're
enough
saying
to
it's
keep it.
it's probably the
Okay.
result of some type of
But,
natural process
He
that can't be
won't
controlled
fight,
that caused
okay?
something like that.
He does have a bad temper.
If they didn't do the drinking and the smoking, it could very well control it.
Okay.
And if
All
you
right.
look at his hands, he's got long
Because, when a
fingers.
woman gets
So you would
pregnant,
think
she's
he
got
should be
to have her
playing
body
piano
a
or
certain
something.
way. She got to eat certain food,
Yeah.
do certain exercise. She can't put certain things in her body.
Well,
'cause
yeah.
It can affect the baby.
Yeah.
And then sometimes that happens to women who don't do that.
Sometimes. Sure. There's a lot of variables, right?
Yeah, you never know. You just have to put it in the hand of God and see what happens.
Okay.
But then because of that, I was badly abused, beat up by kids.
Oh yeah.
I
That
was
sucks.
raped by
Now,
4
see, I've
teenage
got
boys
an
when I was
aunt
12
who's
years
a
old.
lesbian,
That's
you-
what turned me to the occult,
okay?
the hatred.
It
I
seems
don't think
it would,
she
like it would be
goes
pretty
to that.
horrible to be
Okay, it's more like
bullied
she
and
wants to
punished
just be
and,
around her, companion.
like that.
And David's
Mainly
got a
because I
brother
was the son of a preacher.
that's
Yeah.
My
like
parents
that.
were preachers, and
Melvin
Yeah.
has never acted anything
I-
like
I can
that.
also see
I
kind of
was
a
shy and squeamish. I
And,
didn't like fighting. I
Yeah,
loved
it's his
everything.
brother, so he's
I
not
can
gonna
also
stop
see
loving him.
kind of a similar.
Okay? But
I
don't
guess you
think
could call it
Melvin
like a
has to be
parallel
like that.
storyline.
But it's just
Someone
like
might
if
be-
they're the best of
They think
friends,
they're they're gay when they're, you know, an adolescent coming of age, and then they're told that they're going to hell, and it's because of the way they are,
Melvin is very much
and they
so
get bullied and stuff like that. That seems like it would be just as bad.
Like most people think it
Well,
is
when I
or so.
preach about homosexuality
But we have met many.
and tell them they
many
need to get right with God, I tell that to anybody.
And
Whether
Okay.
homosexual,
they
lesbian,
cry,
anybody.
Yeah. Well, it's okay,
ask
so it
to
doesn't
hear
matter,
what we're
but
saying.
yeah.
But then the truth,
They shake
you know,
our
like I
hands,
used to be
they
one of
ask
them
us
preachers
come
used to
back.
get in front of them parades
There's
with
only
my
very,
cross and
very
just really
few
scream at them.
that
Yeah.
get violent.
I no longer do that.
Uh-huh.
Okay?
I go where they're
And we
at,
tell them,
and I
God
sing
doesn't
hymns,
hate
and I let them know that God loves them just as much as He does me. A lot of times they'll come out and they'll hug my neck and they'll start crying, telling me what happened in their
You're
life.
brought in a family,
Uh-huh.
brought up in a family.
Of course, the militant ones won't because they're proud. You know, they're prideful. They don't
Okay?
care.
You're taught that.
They claim they
Just
were
like
born that way.
prejudice.
I'm talking about people who
You're
are
brought up in a
abused.
family that says
And
hate
like I talked with a
blacks,
woman, she was a lesbian. She used to be a wife of a
Mexicans, or
preacher.
hate American
Uh-huh.
Indians,
She called her husband in
something
bed
like
with
that.
another woman. It hurt her so bad she
learn
went to
that
another
way.
woman
Huh.
and became a
Okay.
lesbian. She wasn't born that way.
Or if you brought up in a community.
You know, there's a lot of cases like everything's not the same.
You're gonna learn
Everyone's
that
not
way.
the same.
But you can always break
Well,
out of it.
thanks for talking.
That's a choice.